Hi, my name is Karthik and I am from automation.com and welcome to the first section of our course Generative AI in Software Automation Testing. And in this section, we are going to be talking about an introduction to generative AI. So, this section is more towards how you can understand generative AI and how you can use the generative AI for our upcoming section of this course. So we have already discussed about generative AI, which refers to a class of artificial intelligence model designed to generate new original content or data based on the input it receives. So it creates the text, image, music, or even code, which makes it powerful across various fields. It's all happening because of the power of the generative AI, like how it consumes all those data and processes that and stores in the neural network and then retrieves and predicts based on the input of data which has been given to it. That is the power of the generative AI. And we also saw that generative AI has got various models like large language model and generative adversarial networks and variational autoencoder. So we saw every single thing in our introduction video of this particular course. So we are not going to get in touch with the same thing again. But the one thing which we are going to be talking more towards is going to be the large language model. So the large language model is the one which is responsible for generating the software code and even the manual test cases that we are mostly interested in. So this is the place that we are going to be focusing more our effort in this particular course, because this large language model can understand and generate software code across various programming language. It can be Java, C Sharp, or it can be Golang or Ruby, R, whatever programming language that you throw to it. It is just going to understand the programming language and then it's going to generate based on the text. So it knows the next predictive value of the program, and that is the reason why the code which is being generated from this large language model are quite compelling and quite meaningful. And as I told you, this large language model not just processes the message based on the input that it receives from various sources, but it does quite a lot of crunching operation. You can see that it is going to get the data from various different data sources. For instance, if the large language model is going to be creating the source code of your test project, for instance, it needs to have some reference of the data sources from somewhere. It could be GitHub or it could be some other open source programming portals, for instance, Stack Overflow, and it gets all the details and it pre-processes the instance of messages, and tokenizations happens in here. And these tokenizations, after processing happen, it does the tokens sequencing. And this is where the things gets very interesting, because in the token sequencing, it knows what these values are going to be. So when you ask, Karthik, what is this tokens in nutshell? Well, tokens, you just consider that as like a word which is being used to understand a specific sentence. So it's more like that. So for instance, if you're going to have a token which is going to represent the next operation, for instance, if I'm going to say Karthik dash going to dash teach dash, then it's going to be like Karthik is going to teach automation. So you can easily predict what is going to be the next sentence. So all this sequencing of the predictions all happens because there is a token sequencing happens in this particular operation. And these value, this token sequencing is all going to be stored in the large language model neural network. So this is the most important brain of this entire large language model, which stores all these tokens in multiple different formats that it knows how to store it. And once everything is there, the training phase kicks in, where this is the place where there are many different companies working towards to ensure that the large language model is trained accurately based on the token it has received. And then there is a trained neural network, which is going to be like the entire neural network which can be used for generating the text or predictions. And that's when this whole large language model comes in action. So you can see that this is the entire process of generating the large language models. And all these large language models runs in quite a lot of forms of GPUs, which is like NVIDIA GPUs and even other GPUs, which makes these generative AI models to be created and all this processing happens to store all the information into the neural network, and that ends up creating a big model which can then be used for all these operations like text generation, predictions, and image creations and whatnot. So everything happens over here for you, and that's the power of the large language model itself. Well, as I said, there are many popular large language models available. Some of them are like GPT from OpenAI, Llama from Meta, Gemini from Google, Claude 3.5, Sonnet from Anthropic, and Mistral from Mistral AI. And these are the very, very popular large language model at the moment. And if your company is planning to use any of these models, for sure they will be using the third party cloud platforms like Azure or Google, which has got enough playground with all these models for you to try out and start using it based on your business need. But for us in this particular course, we need to understand what exactly is the large language model and how we are going to be using that for our automation testing as well as for manual testing effort. So for that, we need to first of all use some of these language models which are currently available for free. So if you're going to ask like, are these LLMs available for free? Then yes, there are free tiers of all these large language models in their own websites. For instance, for ChatGPT from OpenAI, it is free. You can just go ahead and use this chatgpt.com to perform the operation that you're looking for. You can query it and it just works fine as expected. Similarly, Gemini has got their free models as well, and they have got an advanced model which is for paid version. But yes, you already have got an idea of how that works. And similarly, there is a Claude, which also has got a limited queries for their advanced model, and you can just keep on using it unless until you run out of the day, like how many queries that you can use it. So all these things are available for free right now, so you can easily use them all for the testing purpose. So we are going to see how we can use these models in our next lecture to understand how we can efficiently query certain operation for our testing purpose.